Well, good morning.
Good
Happy
Good
morning.
morning.
happy Friday, right? 5 days into the year. How's your week going?
Great.
Are you proud of yourself? Who's already given up on the resolution? You're like, I wouldn't show up to this call because I know you're going to ask. I was thinking about something on the drive in this morning. We're going to skip right past wins today because we're going to talk about these resolutions. What is a resolution?
A
For
promise?
me, it is a promise to myself to resolve any inconsistencies or deplacencies in my life
There you go.
where I need improvement.
Promises. I like that. Audra said promises too. I think Tina said it also, but you're killing it, Leela. It's a promise. Now, are you a person of your word? When you tell somebody something, can they hold you to it? Can they take it to the bank, as you say? Like cash that in?
Oh, yeah.
In other words, when you make a promise, do you keep it?
Yeah,
I
sometimes I'm
do
more
because
loyal to others than myself.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at was this morning. You nailed it. She's already thinking ahead. And that's the thing is we often make promises to others. We'll make promises, right? We'll make promises to people and we feel bad when we don't get them. We feel bad when we don't hold a promise by either our choice or external circumstances. We feel terrible about breaking a promise to someone else. But for some reason, when it comes to making promises to ourselves, we chuck it in the bucket. It don't matter. You're all whatever. Nobody knows. I hope you start turning those around and start making some promises on yourself. A resolution is a promise to yourself. And how do we keep a promise? Is we make a promise to someone else. So make resolutions about others as well. I promise to do X because it's going to help Y. Resolutions that are single plane, like I want to lose 20 pounds, or I'm going to stop drinking energy drinks, or I'm going to not do a pound of cocaine a day. These are all promises you do that are single plane. They have no other existence other than stopping doing something. Well, what's the why behind it? My people on the call that are the typical weight loss journey New Year's, right? I want to get in better shape. I want to lose some weight. I want to feel better. Why? And now the why is important because I want you to tie it to a who. As we look at the power of life, it starts off with why, which is the lowest energy question you can ask. Sometimes why feels like an interrogation. It's taking of energy. And if you don't believe me, watch this. Tiffany, why were you late? Look at her face. She's all, oh, damn.
I was waiting for my coffee.
See, but here's a different question. Hey, Tiffany, what made you late?
Right.
Notice how she doesn't have the same physical response to why. Why is a low energy vibration. It is why we try not to ask why questions. Even though I talk about your big why, it's weird that they're two different phenomena. But when you ask why questions, it's low energy, it's low vibration, sometimes negative. But your how and what's and who's become better vibrational questions. At the top of that pyramid, and I've done the pyramid many times, we'll do it another day, but the top of that pyramid, just to short trade, is who, right? When you tie it to somebody, there's a whole lot more than just the philosophy around it. There's a tangible element. So when you're making a resolution, what's your resolution? What's your goal? For those of you who don't quite understand the correlation between resolution and goal, what's your promise to yourself and who is it going to affect? I can tell you if your resolution is only going to affect you, it's probably not as strong up here as if it were to affect your family or your loved ones, your dogs, your cats, your other furry pets, because I know some of you have some weird pets. Although Jim is my favorite agent on the call because his dog looks just like my dog. You guys have all met Moose. This is Jim's Paparuski. When you're making a promise, think about that. Okay, this promise, this resolution, this goal, who's the ripple effect? Who's going to be affected? So let's think about what's somebody's resolution that you haven't quite gone down this logical train yet. Someone give me one of your resolutions. Don't be shy, or one of your goals.
To get somebody under contract.
All right, Stephanie, your resolution is to get somebody under contract. Two things wrong with this. On what and by when?
I want to have somebody under contract at least by the end of the month.
Not at least. Take that word out. It's giving you a gap.
Mm.
Yeah.
I want to have somebody under contract by the end of the month.
You want to have somebody under contract by the end of the
I'm
month?
going to have somebody under contract by the end of the month
On what?
on a home.
Full sale for me.
I am going to have somebody under contract on a single family home.
By
Say
when?
chess.
We'll get there
I
next
am
month.
going to have somebody under contract by the end of February, by the end of January. Lord Jesus,
No,
what?
Stephanie, we
Oh.
talked about this yesterday. So do it as an affirmation and manifestation, like it happens.
I know. And so it's so weird because I am so this person that is genuinely like into speaking things into existence, but I've never completely fully done it for myself. I've always been that person like Tina, she's always coaching everybody else to do it. And so now me speaking it for myself, I'm fucking struggling. And it's like, oh, all right.
What?
I
I'm
am going
gonna
to
show
have
some light on
somebody.
Tina right now. Make Tina do it too, and she'll struggle too. Because we've all been able to speak on others' behalves. We've given promises to other people, but when we make them for ourselves, it is infinitely more difficult.
It
Trust-
is. I agree.
No one else showed up on January 1st when just Tina and I, and she struggled through this exact same exercise. She may act all high and mighty there. I see you, Tina. I love you, baby. I'm calling you to the carpet. We all struggle. Yesterday, myself, Jake even came into my office yesterday and he says, "Hey, I still don't have your goals for 2024." And I looked him dead in the eye and said, "Me neither." So this is an exercise for everybody. Is when we're going to make a resolution, a goal, a promise, I want it to be sincere. It's got to be what by when. And then we can say, okay, who's affected by that? Stephanie, when you get a house under contract by the end of January, who's affected by that?
It's going to be me and my children.
And what are you going to do with the money?
Well, I got to get myself out of some debt and then get into a place of our own.
Awesome. And when are you going to do that?
I'm giving myself 6 months.
Fuck giving yourself anything. When are you going to do it by?
I'm going to do it in 6 months.
6 months from now, my family and I are moving into a place of our own.
In 6 months, my family and I are moving into a place of our own.
Now, is that a resolution you're going to keep?
Yes.
Usually we do a free-for-all Friday, but today I'm doing a for you Friday. Because the way we talk has to be for you.
Mm.
We often put others first, and that's okay. It's good to become from a servant heart and to come from a place of giving. But can you give from an empty well? Can you pour from an empty cup? My cup runneth over, therefore I shall pour into others, for that I find value in everything I do so that I can become more for you. This isn't about making me the biggest household name. This is about me making you guys better, bigger, stronger, more in depth. But I can tell you that the days that I make myself promises and I don't keep them, I struggle. There are days that I wake up and I have a really hard time being Big Dan Caldwell. But there's a promise I've made for others and I show up for it. You got to show up for yourself. And when you show up for yourself, by what? By when? You start doing things more intently, focusing on the who. If I didn't show up this morning, 21 of you would not have this piece of information. You may have gotten it somewhere, somehow, some way throughout your life, but would it be the exact same situation?
Mm-mm.
No. We would have not all heard Stephanie's goal to move into a house of their own in 6 months. Now there's a tribe around you for that goal. So your resolutions, like your goals, should be shared. And they should be focused, right? Smart goals, because you have to be able to measure them. You have to make real goals. You can't just make fictitious, like, I want to fly. They have to be attainable, right? I don't care if what you're thinking now is a big stretch for you. Who you are today has no bearing on who you're going to be tomorrow. Because if you choose to grow into who, Again, focusing on who, what doesn't matter, how doesn't matter, why doesn't matter. Like, I am a fan of supervillains. It's weird. Don't question me. And the way I look at it, it comes from my love language, where the superhero will do everything right by the rules to save the world. And oftentimes will sacrifice the girl he loves to save the world. Superman did this 100,000 times. Well, the supervillain doesn't care about the rules, cares about the outcome, cares about doing the things that matter to him. And oftentimes, and these were in my wedding vows, is that the superhero will sacrifice the girl to save the world. I will watch it burn for my wife. Because who matters to me? And it's a very powerful thing to think about. Is I'll do things right because I am a moral and upstanding individual. I'll do things right, but there are things like social norms, those rules that we have to follow, the niceties, the politeness, the thinking small, living within your means. These are all rules. As a supervillain, you get to break. Even supervillains, if you're a comic book nerd, I'm not really a nerd about it, but I just understand the social dynamics of it. They have rule and order within their ranks, just like superheroes. The villains, there are rules amongst killers and thieves. But if you look at that dichotomy, is I don't have to follow the social norms of living within my means and living within my social sect, the caste that I was born into. I get to do some incredible things. I get to do things that people feel are almost criminal. Because when you have enough money to do whatever you want, people feel like you're doing something wrong. And that's okay, because you're doing it for the people you love. The Joker did it for love. Harley Quinn, right? In the chat, I saw something, Luke Skywalker was the bad guy. They were the resistance to the global order. Well, just because everyone thinks it's the way it's going and you're fighting against it, it makes you the bad guy. Well, if everyone in the world, everyone is focusing on the debt, depravity, lacking, bad economy, all this other BS, and you're the one that's saying, nah, we have opportunities. Me and mine are going to go get our unfair share. We're going to squat up. We're going to go after it. We're focusing on the who, right? I'm bringing you with me. There is a ton of value in those three letters. Who? Who are you fighting for? And who do you need to become to win? When you set a goal, who? Who am I setting this goal for? Who am I setting this promise for? My resolution. Who affects it? Who gets affected by it? Who has the ability to make me stop? Who am I accountable to? These are all great questions you can ask yourself. Think about this on For You Friday. Are you doing things for you, or are you doing things for other in spite of you? Any of us come from a family of middle-class people that just don't quite understand money. They work real hard for 40 years to get a retirement, right? My dad went from making $113,000 a year at Raytheon, which was a decent salary for an engineer. I mean, really good money growing up, to living off of a pension in retirement of less than $48,000 a year. He never understood money because he did what he was taught, and that's who he was. He knew make money, spend money, and after 25 years, hopefully you'll get a good retirement. My sister, my mom, grew up poor, homeless in Phoenix. She is the second youngest of 6 kids in a really rough family. When I say like a broke Irish family, you guys can think of that. Anyone ever seen that show in Shameless on Netflix?
Oh God.
Just think of those people in Phoenix. But if you take all that who, right, that entire soup of who, I am a bad guy. I've got my own business. I've got my own house. I have my own, I pay for my mom's cell phone bill. I pay for my dad's stuff. I help my sister out all the time because I knew I had to change who I was, because I didn't want to be that. Who mattered to me? And it didn't matter until somebody said, who are you? Laura Dembowski was my real estate coach for many years until she got out of the business. And Laura told me one day, and she goes, "Who matters?" I'm like, "Of course it does." She goes, "No. Who are you?" I was like, "I'm Big Dan Caldwell." She's like, "No, but who? Who are you to your people, to your agents, to your family? Who are you?" And 5 years ago, when she asked me that question, I couldn't answer it. I had no idea who I was. I had a small glimmering of hope of who I wanted to be, but I was always focusing on what I wanted to do, what did I want to accomplish, what I wanted to have, and then how I was going to get there. What and how are great questions because you're going to need to answer those. But the most important thing was who. When I was 25 years old, I wanted to buy a Corvette until I stopped and asked myself, why do you want to buy a Corvette? Because I wanted to be the guy with the Corvette because I thought it would make me cool. Well, I was wrong. I'm 6'3", 350 pounds. I do not fit in a Corvette. But most importantly, I also learned that when I started caring about what other people thought of me, my who was gone. I was a what. I was what they thought. I was what they saw. I was what they wanted. Even till this day, it's hard for me to make selfish decisions, something that's going to benefit just me, because I still have that 35 years of programming that says, look out for others first. Wrong. Look out for number one first. Yes, that's a selfish thing to say, but that's the supervillain coming out. You have to look out for number one because you can't give to number two if number one is dead. Remember that. You can't pour from an empty cup. So when you're making your goals, you're making your resolutions, man, focus on who. Who do I want to be in 2024? Who am I leaving behind? Who no longer has a seat on my bus? And kindly ask them to exit. Jimmy, I love you to death, but we no longer can be friends like we used to be. I am going places and I feel like you just don't have the wings to get there. I'll send a postcard. Know that I love you. I get the utmost, but where I'm going, you don't fit.
That's where I have a hard time is instead of asking somebody to exit, I want to take them with me and get them to where I'm at.
When you
But-
cut toxicity out of your life,
Yeah, but sometimes I'm still bringing it with me.
that's the thing is you will. Who's heard me talk about the backpack, right? Every morning you have a choice to pick up your backpack full of rocks. The backpack is that heavy shit weighing you down every day. And you have the choice of picking up that backpack every day and filling it back full of rocks. Like, ooh, forgot about that trauma. Ooh, can't forget about that toxic event. Oh, yeah, we can't forget about that person. Got to take them with me. No. The mountain you climbed, you started carrying with you. Leave it behind. Call me and share good news. Don't just call me and talk about things going wrong.
That's where I'm at with people. That's the part I can't handle anymore.
You can't. You have to be for you. Be you. This is for you guys. This is me giving you this is welcome to the Supervillains Convention. You can say no to people. You can cut them off. You can siphon away your energies and still do it with a good heart. Because you're going to be the enemy. You're going to be the villain in somebody's eyes when you do things for you. It doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you you. And it's oftentimes people are going to say, oh, they're a terrible person. They left me high and dry. They did this because they have to showcase to other people that you were the one that did them wrong. Instead of just you doing what was best for you. Being able to say no is a power that a lot of people have a hard time with, right? Who on here are people pleasers, right? Like to do things for people. Take care of them, do things for them, love to say yes because that's just your nature.
That's
right?
just your nature.
It's just your nature. Have you forgot about doing it for you?
I feel like
Yeah,
I have,
and
and I
it's
felt like with my success growing, I want to help everyone, but now it seems like it's expected because now I'm the cousin selling real estate. I'm the one with the money, so I should just do it, you know?
Tina, you had something?
Yeah, I am. And I hate to call them resolutions because it's easy for people to break them, but my life change for this year moving forward was boundaries.
You promised.
And it goes back to, I promised myself, boundaries. I have to have them because it was always affecting my kids. you know, if mom turned around and did something for someone at the last minute, I had to push dinner off. And so I saw that that was one thing that I needed to change, that I have to change, and that I want to change so that it doesn't affect my household anymore. It's setting hard boundaries and hard stops and feeling okay doing it.
I'll give you guys some background. This is some real hard truth that, you know, I don't mind sharing because I'll tell a stranger the same thing. My mom is a very bad alcoholic. Most of my childhood, my mom drank herself into oblivion. We're talking a fifth of vodka on the way home. And then she would time it so that she got into the house, went to bed, and slept for 3 days. Like that disappeared. I'm glad that she wasn't a violent drunk, but sometimes she did get a little aggressive. But most of the time, she was just drunk. She'd sleep it away. She did it to escape. My mom's been sober for many years. I mean, she had some trips and falls along the way, and I still love her for it. But because I grew up around that, my sister grew up around. My sister and my mom have a very hate-filled relationship. I love my mom to death. I love her for who she is, not for what she's done. My sister hates her for what she's done and forgets who she is. So who matters? People were going to make mistakes. People are going to harm you. But I'll tell you, in that same situation, my sister and I grew up in the exact same shoes. I came out better than she did because I focused on the person, not the problem. I focused on the relationship I had with my mom outside of all the negativity. My sister focuses on the negativity. Because of that, I don't drink. It's not because I have a problem with it. It's not because I'm an alcoholic. It's because I don't want my kids to ever experience any of the things I did in life. Am I missing out? I'm sure. I could have a drunk, crazy night one time. No, I've done enough of it, man. My 20s are filled with it. I've ran down the streets in Denver with no shoes on in the middle of January. I've done some shit. But the thing is when you focus on the who, you find the best in people and in yourself. And you get to see past what mistakes they've made. But when you focus on other things, you're going to find the negativity and it's going to sour you forever. A friend of mine, his name is Herb. He taught me a saying when I was 19 years old. And he says, I don't trust anyone who doesn't walk with a limp. He goes, if you walk, talk, and act perfectly, you're hiding something. He goes, it's the people that you feel are the most broken or probably the most whole because they're true to who they are. So regardless of what you've done, regardless of how 2023 was, and regardless of who you were in the last 24, 36, 50 months, who you can be is unlimited. Start making promises to you and focus on who. Who do they affect? Who's important to you? And who are you doing this for? You should be at one of the top of the list, the people you love the most. And here's a fun exercise, and I just gave you the secret to it, is if I told you to write down the top 10 people you love, you wouldn't be on there. Because it's sad. When you're making resolutions, and this we're a week into our first week of the year, and resolutions start to fail right now. After 5 days, and they're almost all the way gone by February. Turn those resolutions into promises to yourself, right? To who? Because those promises are going to allow you to do supervillain things, come up with some crafty, crazy ways of tackling 2024. Now, I know some of you don't align with the badness of things. You don't have to be a supervillain. I'm giving you the authority to think differently. There's a code of conduct in the world. And if you want to live by social norms, you will get what social gives you. And that's median cast. Think big, act big, do big. Because who you are matters, not what you've done. Did you learn something today?
Yes.
Always.
Good. Well, I am proud of you. And I'm excited to see who you become this year because we're going to do this all year. We're going to focus on growth. We're going to focus on excelling. And we're going to do some pretty damn incredible things. Are you in?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
High five.